Hey everyone, it's Chrissy from Everyday Survival Gear, and today we have something special. We have a charger. We haven't done a charger in quite a while. We will be reviewing the MiBoxer C2-4000. That's it there, C2-4000. It's actually the brother or sister, I don't want to be sexist, of the C2-3000, the charger that I done from MiBoxer maybe 6 months ago now. This one's got more features. It's got a charge discharge cycle, so you can tell the milliamp hours of your batteries. This one charges lipos, NIMs, nickel cadmiums, standard lithium ions, 4.2, 4.35 volts. This thing does pretty much anything from 10440, actually smaller than 10440 cells, all the way up to 26650s. It's got auto select current, so it can select the right current for you. Anyway, I'm going to go over the features after this, but I just thought I'll just run a few quick things. I was going to do a teardown on this too, but I think the teardown might be a little bit too much, so I might put that in another video later on. We'll see how it goes. And one more thing, because I did record this at 2 AM now, this uses, for lithium ions, it uses constant voltage and constant current. So just to clarify that, because later on in the video I kind of muddle it up a little bit. And for NIMs, it uses pulse charging. These are both the best and correct ways to charge both those kinds of cells. I explain to you why later on in the video anyway. If you get that far through, you might already see my face and just go stop. Who wouldn't? Just a quick disclaimer before we get started. The C2-4000 was sent to me by MiBoxer for review, so yeah, there's that disclaimer. And the other one is I'm not the most versed in chargers. I've reviewed maybe about 10 in my lifetime, and I do own a lot, and I have pulled a lot apart. But we're gonna skip most of the more technical stuff and only get into a few details. Alright, first of all, we'll talk about what it comes with. So you get the C2-4000. You don't get the batteries. The batteries are mine, unfortunately. You get it in a pretty cool looking box. I'll show you the box. It's got that there. I'll put it up a little bit more. So you get the C2-4000 smart charger box. This time around, compared to the C2-3000, you do get an AC adapter. So this is the included AC adapter here. This is, I'm pretty sure these prongs are USA prongs, so they don't work here. So I've got my own AC adapter plugged in here. But just for a quick note, if you read on the back here, it does do from 100 to 240 volts, 50 to 60 hertz, and output is 12 volts at 2 amps. And it is like UL listed and whatnot, so it is a fairly good charger, I would be saying. And last but not least, you get the instruction booklet, and that's pretty much all you get. You don't really need much more anyway, because the prongs are adjusting, so there's no need to have anything to do with the prongs anyway. Alright, so viewing angles are a little bit harder because I've got to have like a million lights on to get enough light for the video, so it does create a bit of glare. First over, we'll run the features. So it's compatible with batteries of lithium-ion, so you can either use 4.2 volts or the 4.35 volt lithium-ion batteries. You can use the LiPo, they're 3.6 volts, or you can use your pretty standard NIMs and nickel cadmiums. So they're 1.48 volts. So applicable to different types of cylindrical rechargeable lithium-ion batteries. So basically, if it's a cylinder type cell, you can fit it in here. Anything from your fairly small lithium ions to your fairly massive like D and C size cells. So you can see I've got some little color 26650s in here now, and they fit in perfectly fine. So if I put another one in here too, you'll see it fits too. Very well spaced. There's no issues with room there, and you know, it's got these little finger grooves and stuff here where you can flip your batteries out very easy. Maximum charge of 1.5 amps per channel. So it can charge at 1.5 amps per channel, which is 3 amps in total. I might move the camera a little bit closer. So although it is only a 2-bay charger, charging at 1.5 amps per bay makes it pretty much equivalent to a standard 3-bay 1 amp charger. So it's not too much different to having a 4-bay charger, only in a smaller package. So you can manually set up charging, discharge current. So it's got a capacity tester. So basically what it does is you set it up, you got to click a few buttons. It goes into a charge cycle, so it will top up the cell to 4.2 volts. Then it will drain the cell down to about 3 volts, 2.9 volts, somewhere around about there. And it will charge it back up, and it will count the capacity. That's pretty much the right way of doing it. My little Carla Engineer 500 does it the same way. They both get pretty much the same sort of results. My Samsung 25R's got 2,700 and I think 35 milliamps. A little bit on the high side, but not too bad. I did test some Emerlent 18650s. That Emerlent battery is rated at 2600 milliamps, and this MiBoxer C2-4000 gave it, I think it was 2,565. So that is pretty close. High precision reference voltage source calibration automatically stop charging battery when fully charged. So obviously, you don't want your batteries overcharged. So it is a fully automatic charger. It even has automatic current selection. So I just put that battery in. You can see I pushed no buttons so far. And if we just change it, it's on slot 2 now anyway. So you can see it's charging at 0.06 amps. But this battery is already full. I've already had them on for a while. So it can automatically select the current. So it's got reverse polarity protection. So if you put the battery in upside down, it's not just going to blow up. It's also got short circuit protection function, which is good for when I'm pronging around with my multimeter. Intelligent temperature control function. Automatically detects batteries and displays its state of charge. So if you put in a NIM, Lithium-Ion or LiPo, it can automatically detect what cell you got in there, and it will charge it at the correct rate and the correct, I guess the correct rate would be the right thing to say, or the correct charge cycle. Because like the LiPos don't go that high, they don't go as high as lithium-ions. So it automatically measures battery internal resistance. So you can see here on the screen when it goes around, that's the charging current. That's the voltage that the battery is at, and that's the internal resistance there. Now I forgot where I'm at. Measure the battery capacity during charging. So you can see it's charging and it's adding volts. So it is adding volts, but it's adding capacity through milliamps, which does inherently add volts too. So you can see it's slowly adding capacity. So it's right now at 37 milliamps, 37, sorry. So I put the battery and it was pretty much fully charged, and it's still adding a little bit of, it's still slowly adding a bit more capacity to the battery. Measure the actual capacity of the battery through charge-discharge cycle. We've already talked about that. 2 fully independent slots. So this is the sort of thing that you kind of need. So you can control each slot one by one. So you can put a NIM in one slot, and then you can put a lithium-ion in another slot, and it will charge both the correct way. Supports small capacity battery charging. So it does have a manual select, which is what I would recommend using, although you can use automatic. The automatic is still a little bit fidgety. None of these chargers are fully perfect. So basically the auto charge works through selecting the internal resistance. So in a small cell, I'll put in a small cell, even though this isn't, actually that one's finished. It's 100%. That can come out. Let's see what cells I got here. So generally speaking, the internal resistance will be higher on a small cell. I'm not sure how that works, but it just is. See, this is an IMR cell. So it'll slowly read it. It's reading 4.10 volts. It's reading 197 milliohms, which is a little bit too high, but it'll lower it sooner or later. And because the milliohms reading is so high, it's only charging it at 350 milliamps, which 350 milliamps for a 14500 cell is actually pretty good. That's pretty much the correct charge current, what you'd want to charge it at. Sometimes if I do want it to charge a little bit faster, I would put in 500 milliamps, but generally speaking, you want to charge it at about half the maximum capacity. These AW cells are rated at 600 milliamps, I believe. So yeah, we should see the internal resistance slowly drop down. So it does support 12 volt car charging mode. So if you've got a car charger, you can just plug it straight into your cigarette lighter. Some cars come now with inbuilt USBs anyway. It does support lithium-ion battery repair function. So basically, if you got a protected cell, which most of my cells here are not protected anyway, and you trip the protection circuit and you put it in, it'll trickle charge it to reactivate the cell. It doesn't really activate like bung cells, so if you overdrain a cell to 2 volts, it may work or it may not. I've had luck with some chargers and I haven't had luck with other chargers, so I think it just depends on the cell and how low it is. Also, I probably wouldn't charge cells from too low unless you know what you're doing. Just be careful with that. Excellent heat dissipation and circuit design, and you get a 3-year warranty. So that's pretty much the features there. What else? So I can kind of run over all the compatible batteries, but there's no point, but I will anyway. So it fits a 10340, 10350, 10440, all the way up to a 26650. So they say a 26650 is a maximum size. I've never actually seen a cell bigger than a 26650. So basically any sort of like consumer cells that you'd be using in a torch or I don't know, like quadcopter or something, you can charge pretty much all of them without an issue. NIM and nickel cadmiums, you can charge AAA's. No, actually it's got AAAA, so 4 times A. Then you got AAA's, double A's, A. I don't even know what A cell is. SC. I don't know what a SC cell is either. Might have to Google search that. D and then C. So yeah. Maximum charge current for 1.5 amps for lithium ions and 1 amp for NIMs. So I'm kind of stuffing that up there, but yeah. Basically it doesn't charge. I can explain why it doesn't charge the NIMs at 1.5 amps, because it uses pulse charging for NIMs, and pulse charging is the correct way to charge NIM batteries, NIMs and nickel cadmiums. So for lithium ion cells, you want something like direct voltage and constant current. It's constant voltage and constant current. So you want CC and CV to charge lithium ions with. And for a battery like a NIM, you really want to use something like pulse charging, and the pulse charging will help fill up the NIM pretty much all the way to the top. So let's just say if you charge it at 1 amp, it'll pulse 1 amp, and then it'll pulse 500 milliamps, and then 1 amp, and then 500 milliamps. Where when charging a lithium ion, it'll pretty much constantly put in 4.2 volts, but it'll drop the current. So you'll always have constant voltage, but the current will drop as the cell is getting finished. Those two are probably the safest and most correct ways to charge lithiums and NIMs. Funnily enough, not many chargers actually do both at the same time. So I'll show you guys what's on the display. So here, I'll leave the light on. So alright, so you can see the screen is nice and big and easy to read for all of us. So here is the battery percentage, so 99%, 97% there. You can see it says lithium ion 4.2 volts. So that's the battery type. So that's first channel, second channel. So you know, if we click slot, it'll say C1, C2, and you know, it'll kind of change the milliamps like so. Then we've got remaining time down the bottom here. So we've obviously got milliamp hours there. So that's the milliamp hours that we've input so far. We've got this one, cycles. So we've got internal resistance, which is this one. That's internal resistance. Then we got amps going into the batteries, and we got voltage. So internal resistance, we got input amps, we got voltage, and also you also get a temperature readout when you do a charge and discharge cycle with the charger. So that is an option too, as I've already said. You can test the battery's capacity through charge and discharging the cell. I'll show you guys how to get there. Actually, I'll show you what it looks like. So I kind of got to show you guys around this a little bit more, but this video is already dragging on a bit, so let's see if I get this right. And right now you can see it's on the that's how you tell it's on the charge, discharge, and then recharge cycle, like so. And you can still select your charging current, like so, all the way up to 1.5 amps. 1.5 amps is too much for these small cells. I wouldn't push my luck. Even though it's a AW, and AW is a really good brand. No, I'm not saying anything against you. I think his name's Andrew Wang. But, yeah, I wouldn't charge a small cell that fast. It's more so, too, you know, you got to be careful that the smaller cells can dissipate the heat properly as they charge. Alright, so that's on a charge discharge cycle. I might let that start, and then you'll hear the fan spinning, and you'll see how the fan sounds. So while we're waiting for that to work, we'll have a look around the C2-4000. So you can see the screen is fairly big, not the biggest, but it is fairly easy to read. So you know, you're looking at it through my camera. And in the room right now, I've got about 3,000 lumens of light on, so I've got a directional light looking down above us. And my room light now is a LED. I think it's like 20 watts, 18 watts, so it's about 1,500 lumens. And trust me, when you put it on when you first wake up, it does hurt your eyes. So you've got the MiBoxer here. This one, compared to the C2-3000, does actually have buttons. My C2-3000 was the first edition, and it didn't have any buttons. We'll put it down like so. Show you guys. So you can see it's got a lot of curves. It's got a lot of like features like this. How these bays are flat, so you know you can fit your fingers in very easily and pick up the cell. I kind of don't want to take this one out now because I want to show you guys the charge and discharge cycle. But you know, you can fit in two 26-650s very easily. So we'll flip it around this way, and you can see the 26-650 fits really easy. You know what, overall, like, we can move it like this. You can see there's no flex, no creak in the body, and I'm putting a lot of force on that. It's a very well built, very well made charger. Kind of using a external AC adapter kind of alleviates the heat. It does have an inbuilt fan up here. So if we have a look here, you can see the fan. I think it's a blower type fan because it is fairly loud. That's only there for the discharge cycle. So that only turns on the discharge cycle. So yeah. Yeah. Bottom looks like so. We can flip it upside down. So that's how it looks on the bottom. It's got a few more specs and features there and whatnot. It's got the compliance ratings. I'll show you guys the prongs moving. So lots of heavy force snap action there. The prongs move very easily. You can see. I'll put in another cell. I'll put in my Samsung 25Rs. Fits in like so, very easily. Done. Hope I'm not blocking the light too much. So these 25Rs are already charged now anyway, so yeah. Looks pretty cool actually with two small batteries in there. So when you're charging big cells, sometimes it's a bit of a problem if they're flat tops to get a proper connection. But if we see here, you can see 1, 2, 3 dimples at different heights. Also here you can see one dimple down the bottom and another one up the top here. It's not as protruding as the front ones, but yeah. You know, sometimes when you're charging the larger 26-650s, like, they do kind of bulge out and they do hit on other chargers, but it does fit in this charger pretty good actually. I'm really happy with the design that MiBoxer has done on this C2-4000. I'll turn the camera off now, and when it's back on, you guys will see the discharge function at work. Alright guys, so now the discharge cycle started. Funnily enough, it started just after I turned the video off. So I can't remember what current I've got it working at. But you can hear the fan is actually fairly loud. So you can see that's voltage, milliohms, discharge amps, and the temperature 27 degrees Celsius. Yeah, so the fan is a little bit loud, but considering that you can discharge cells at 1.5 amps each cell, so 3 amps total, the fan is kind of it's like a, what would you call it, what's that saying? It's a necessary evil, because if you didn't have a fan there, you would definitely overheat the charger with that sort of discharge current. My little color Engineer 500 can only discharge at it's 500 milliamps max. Alright guys, so it's still doing the discharge cycle. I'll turn it off and I'll charge it again like later. Right now I've got a NIM here, Amazon Basic, but it's a rebranded AnyLoop Pro. So we'll put that in. So once I pull this out, it'll recognize that I pulled it out, and it will stop the fan. Just give it a bit of time. So there we go. 25% only. Wow. I was expecting these to be full actually. So you can see it reads NIM, nickel cadmium. Reads the voltage, reads the milliohms there, so the ohms. That's the input current, and if we go to mode, we will be able to charge it at 1 amp. And there it is, 1 amp. Also, I'll show you for safety reasons. Whoops, it's broken. Put this NIM in upside down, and there we go. It says error, so you can't like accidentally put it in the wrong way around. I kind of want to take this thing apart, and I want to have a look inside for myself, but last time on the video people said it was kind of overkill, so I don't think most people want to see the internals. So I'll probably do another video, not guaranteed, but I think I should, to just show you guys the inside. One last thing is I'm using the cord that I usually use for my little Carla Engineer 500, but seems like there's a lot less light in the room right now. Alright guys, so side by side we've got the MiBoxer C2-4000 and MiBoxer C2-3000. So you can see they are fairly different looking now. Both excellent build quality, but the C2-4000 is probably like a whole level above. Nothing wrong with the C2-3000, but the extra options that it gives you are pretty cool. Alright, I really hope I haven't forgotten anything, but I'm pretty sure I got everything. So yeah, so all in all, the charger is a really good charger. It's small in size, compact, very easy to use. You know, it's only got 2 buttons. It is only 2 slots, so that is kind of a bit of a con for me at least. I would rather a 4 slot, but I don't usually charge more than 2 batteries at once anyway, unless I leave them all to the last minute, which I try not to do. You know, it's got very, very good clearance, so, you know, you can see how big the slots are, even compared to the little Carla Engineer 500. Look at the space in between the cells, compared to the space in between the cells on the Engineer 500. And the Engineer 500 is a sort of charger that pretty much everyone has, like, probably on BLF, Counterpower Forum, there's a lot of us that'll have the Engineer 500. So, yeah. Yeah, so all in all, it's a great charger. You know, I give it, I guess, like, I give it a thumbs up, even though I don't usually say that, but it's well made, versatile, and it's got a lot of useful features. Alright guys, this has been Chris from Everyday Survival Gear, bringing you the review of the MiBoxer C2-4000. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, like and subscribe, and thanks for watching guys.